I'm not funny at all, but I try to be. It's not going to be funny except for 1 or 2 parts, and I really hope you laugh during those parts. The rest is pretty serious. I'm ready. At 3 years old, I moved into a small brown house in New England, 300 Boutell Street. I remember the cadence of how the letters rolled off my tongue as my mom and dad taught me to spell our street name before I could read. They wanted to be sure I knew where my home was in case I got lost. Boutelle. This place has defined my interest in the themes I pursue in my work. Being connected to the earth and rooted to a place, being a girl, discovering my autonomy and agency and what it's like to navigate the world in this body, being aware of those who came before me. The speck of wood behind our house seemed like a wilderness for a little person. It held the alluring yet poisonous lily of the valley, quietude as our family grew in population, and my dad's boat. Perfect for hiding. The criteria for any boat: always old, always wood, always neglected and in need of great care. The ancient and the ruin. This tiny speck of green at the back of our property line connected our yard to the neighbors' yards, the Cormiers, the Cardinals, the Carneys. We knew every tree, every bush, every hiding place. Playing outside assisted me in mapping my world and keeping me out of my parents' way as they worked their letterpress company in the basement. If you climbed up the tiny hill at the edge of the shallow wood, you would reach a quiet 1-lane road. Crossing it would lead you to the entrance of St. Bernard Cemetery. This place became an extension of our neighborhood, but it was different. It was a sacred place where there were ancestors and big white memorials to them, some forgotten and some overgrown. One summer after first grade, I came upon my favorite nun, Sister Mary, bent over the grave markers, clearing away the earth so that the names of the dead could be seen again, reminding passersby of who came before them and that their lives were important and honored. This whole place was fertile. And why are these memories so fresh that I feel I can still smell them? I was aware of nothing else but what I experienced moment to moment to moment, living in absolute presence. Do you remember what it's like to feel that way? Not everything was rainbows and butterflies. There was death and fighting, experiences that confused my child mind and heart. There was conflict and there was loss. But that is the essence of the Sacred Heart. The heart holds it all. It renews and reminds that through trial and injury, it will realign and grow greater in its capacity. Eventually, it promises to glow brighter, illuminated, bedazzled even by its scars and its imperfections. The landscape that held me infused itself into every available sense. It also left some memories less distinct, as childhood often does. And so I have impressions, which translate more as abstractions in my work, yet they all trace to home, to lineage, to the Great Mother, and to the beating heart. If there is one person who embodied these elements for me, it was my grandmother, Johanna Regina, my Oma. My grandmother provided a consistent place to land while navigating my early life. The themes of love, disappointment, loss, longing for home and culture were played out in her life and when I was old enough in long conversations at her kitchen table. Every visit would culminate in strong and silent tears. Life may not have turned out as she expected or how she had envisioned, but she demonstrated to me to love and to keep on loving, and to love fiercely. After she died, each one of her grandchildren wanted to claim most favorite, but none of us could, because in her own way, she made each of us feel favored, beloved, treasured, and it was a real beautiful gift. She was a Sacred Heart warrior. She lived a full and tumultuous life, and it was beautiful, but sometimes it was also pretty terrible. She is each one of us on the spectrum of woman to man, She made flesh this relevant and holy way of being. And I celebrate her as I celebrate each one of us in my paintings. Leading with the heart, I am her, as you are, perfectly imperfect. This summer, my family of 4 took off to our ancestors' homelands, Ireland, Germany, and France. My husband, Aspen, presumed his lineage was Mutt, but invariably the guy is nearly all English-Irish. 23andMe confirms his DNA origins. We circled back to where our people came from, breathed in their air and touched stones that they touched, saw the light ripple across their landscapes, walked through their streets, slept under their stars, and we even dressed up in their clothes. It was an incredible journey to do together with our children, introducing them to different cultures and many cousins many times removed, and experiencing a place different from Charleston, South Carolina, Freya and Seamus's birthplace, where their roots are and what they will always call home, their heart home. This intertwining of the birthplace that holds you, the heart that resides within you, the body you roam the earth in, and the soul to give it meaning, this is what motivates me to connect and create. Human beings doing their best to love and to be loved. It's usually a flawed path, peppered and stumbles and scraped knees, but some people's pain much deeper than others. Love is always a worthwhile pursuit. I've carried this photo of my husband in my wallet since we started dating 23 years ago. Pictured here, he is the same age as our daughter is now, 11. It's an age that begins to usher you out of childhood and into a larger awareness of the world. This little piece of paper is a talisman, a reminder of the child Aspen, and how we are all still, just as we were kids, able to be open and to be present. On this day, October 5th, 50 years ago, Aspen was born. Tonight, I celebrate him, and most of all, the basis of all creativity, Love.